Alright, alright. Kamusta kayo dyan mga kameta? Welcome back dito sa show natin. Deep Dive with Ricardo Heydariani. Yan, kamusta naman kayo dyan? Na-miss na naman yata ako. Ilang oras na tayo hindi nag-usap. Yeah, obviously, this week was very busy for us when it comes to analyzing yung mga pangyayari sa ating bansa. Nung Monday, of course, kasama natin si Chris Tan. Mukhang the response was very positive and accordingly, dahil sa public clamor, nag-usap lang kami ni Chris Tan. Hopefully gawin natin once a week. We're thinking either beginning of the week or more likely end of the week. Siguro mga Fridays, Saturdays. Medyo irregular na natin with Chris Tan, breaking down all the big things throughout the week and what are the things we have to look forward to. Alright guys, accordingly, pag-usapan natin ito mga latest development because kahapon naman kasama po natin si former Associate Justice Carpio, someone who was, by all accounts, supposed to become the Supreme Court Chief Justice, but yun kasama niya, kasabay na si Digong and Digong ko Warning To Duterte, alam naman natin ang mga ginagawa ng time na yan, at unfortunately, minsan there are questions about how independent other institution of the states can become under circumstances of presidential authoritarianism. Now, having said that, I think when it comes to Justice Carpio, not only a bar top-notcher, not only a top magistrate, but a true patriot, I will take his legal analysis of itong mga pangyayari sa ating bansa over any of those third-rate, fourth-rate, nth-rate na mga abogado dyan sa Digong scam. No offense kay Digong, no offense dun sa mga pasang-awa. Wala naman tayong issue dyan. Ang issue ko lang dyan is kung magyabang kayo at magka-credentialism kayo, sana naman medyo i-back up nyo naman ng medyo matinong credentials. Now, speaking of that, so mga kausap lang naman natin mga Supreme Court Justice, medyo bar top-notcher, medyo may alam sa buhay. But, as I said, Riza Hontiveros, or any of us as ordinary citizens, we didn't have to become, we don't have to be, constitutional law experts or professors to know that mali ang extrajudicial killings, to know that you cannot set up essentially suspected criminals to be, to put themselves in a shoot to kill situation, right? Essentially, alam natin there's something fundamentally wrong dun sa nanlaban kung yung pala set up lang siya. You don't need a constitutional law expertise for that, right? So dun sa mga third-rate lawyeran dyan na nagle-lecture na ako naging prosecutor, ako naging ganyan. Alright. Pansin ko ba't yung mga ibang legal minds and luminaries? Oy, by the way, na-detect na natin sino yung abogado na yan, ha? Si, Stephen David ba ang pangalan? Si Sir Steve. Diba? Yun din yung abogado ni Alice Go. Taga Davao ba yan? Taga saan ba? Stephen Go, diba? Ibang klase. Kung sinong talagang may mga abogado dyan na trabaho lang talaga nila samahan yung mga team Hindi ko naman sinabi team kadiliman or kasamaan. Yung lang, medyo team controversial. Ilagay natin sa pangalan na. Ang pangalan niya, so, wait lang. Nakita ko siya nung andun si Bato, di ba? Yung si Bato, kinakausap niya si Digong, yung kanyang amo. Yung kanyang dating aliado. And then sabi ko, wait. Sino yung katabi ni Bato dyan? Parang familiar ang mukha nito. Ito. Sabi ko, parang familiar ang mukha nito. Di ba parang nakita ko siya somewhere? Yung pala, yun, buyak siya. Alice Go in the town. Talagang maliit ang mundo nila, no? Maliit ang mundo ng mga Team Pogo, no? Team China. Sabi nga ng Okta, 5% na lang daw yung boboto sa mga pro-China candidates. So mukhang palit. Ito. Ano na yan, guys? Ito si Bato. Tingnan mo yung nandito. Yung puti yung buhok. Ay, hindi pala nakikita, sorry. Yun yung puti na buhok. Yun, nakita nyo? Sabi ko, wait lang. Hindi yung walang buhok, sorry. Hindi yung, madali naman hanapin yung puting buhok dyan. Yan, okay. Yun. Sabi ko talaga, Kung ganyan lang pala yung mga abogado, yung mga level. Hindi naman ganun kagaling kasi ano na rin si Alice ko sa dulo na niyari rin. Na ano na, booking-bookingan din si Alice ko, nag-meltdown na nga rin eh. So, ewan ko sa mga yan. Siguro ano talaga eh, scraping the bottom talaga. Wala na silang mahanap na matinong abogado. O, diba? Buti pa si Mami ni Kaloy, no? Tumulong sa kanya si Attorney Fortune kasi usually expect mo yung mga Alright, balikan natin ito. Now, as I said, isa sa mga pinaka nakakatuwa at saka at the same na nakakainis sa mga kadidiyas natin is yung yung sobrang ang yabang nila. Sobrang yabang talaga nila. Tapos parang wala sa lugar niya. Wait lang guys, nawala yung ayan. Medyo pinatayan ba tayo ng kuryente? Scraping the button. Talagang sino na dyan? Sino na? Lahat tumitingin ng ganyan. Sige, ikaw na. Anyways, andun naman si Panelo. Wala talagang gallery of talaga eh. Panelo, Pogo Lawyer, Bato. Nakakamiss talaga si no? Nakakamiss si, anong pangalan niya? Nakakamiss si Manhunted, si hindi daw fugitive pero ay magpakita, bahala kayo dyan. Basta yung minamanhunt ngayon. Kaya sabi ko, tuwan-tuwa ito tuwan-tuwa ito si fashionista. Si pangalan niya, Panelo, fashionista. Yan, si Panelo, fashionista. Yan, tuwan-tuwa siya kasi wala na si Harry. Minanot si Harry. Ayusin natin guys Alam mo, si Sir Ronald tuloy. Kasi naman ang bully-bully ni Sir Ronald tuloy. By the way guys, i-pray nyo naman si Sir Ronald. Mukhang nagka-cough-cough pa rin I was asking hopefully will he better by the end of this week para mag-catch up tayo ulit. Parang hindi Anyway, going back to this, sabi ko, ang yabang-yabang tong mga Duterte na to. Tignan mo si Tatay Digong, rockstar. Tapos tinatag-tag tayo ng mga trolls here and there. Tignan na naman dyan. Galing ni Tatay. Ano daw sabi ni Darian? Wala na daw ang Dutertismo. Duterte is back. Sabi ko, believe na believe talaga sila sa sarili nila. No? And I always felt that is really the greatest weakness of Digong. In fact, not only Digong, ito yung greatest weakness ng buong pamilya na. Right? Which is, ito, hubris. I mean, I'm the last person to claim that on a superficial level, mukha tayong Ito. Wait lang, may troll dyan. Okay. Ako naman on a superficial level, alam ko naman hindi naman humility yung strongest suit ko. Na ibang usapan yung genuine humility because if you have genuine humility, you improve in life. You learn, you admit your mistakes, you grow. And genuine humility is something I believe in. But in terms of superficial humility, I never believe in that. Mga pakit na ganun, mga fake na ganun. But speaking of it, guys, dami na asar Di pa nga ako binibuild up ko pa lang Actually, guys, I was downloading yung mga dialogues ni Plato kanina, gorgeous, yung mga binabalikan ko, yung mga The Statesman, The Sophist. Nami-miss ko talaga yung Socratic method Talagang, bardagulan, asaran, hanggang mag-gets ng kausap mo, walang sense yung sinabi niya. But I was always very Socratic in my approach to this. Kasi otherwise, mawalan ka ng pasensya, maiinis ka lang. At hindi ma-appreciate ng tao, right? So you slowly build up the argument. So anyway, papunta tayo dyan. Don't worry, we're going towards the argument. Isa sa mga napapansin ko parati sa mga Duterte is, siguro dahil sobrang chinamba nila noong 2016. Because my argument in my book, Rise of Duterte, na may iba dyan na nagpapanggap na binasa nila lahat. Siguro binasa lang yung libreng part na online tapos kinote nila. Kunyari may review na sila. Yung mga, yung mga tao na yung mga wala naman na sa buhay masyado na kung nabasa niyo talaga it's an academic word, pero kung nabasa niyo talaga properly, I started with comparison to fascist Italy, but anyway, the best way to understand why Duterte became our president in 2016 is the man meets the moment. The moment was etong frustration and grievance of the Filipino people dun sa shortcomings ng ating demokrasya. As we speak, people are wondering whether grievance in America will be enough to bring back Trump to power. As we speak, many European countries are experiencing the rise of far-right parties because there's a concern about grievance politics. As we speak, the Japanese ruling party, LDP, Liberal Democratic Party, which for a very long time ay parang may stranglehold on politics with the exception of 2008, 2009, from Hatoyama to 2011, 2012 under DPJ, everyone thought LDP will be in charge. And now, bati sila, wasak sila. You know, if you look at all of these examples, we see an explosion of grievance politics. In fact, so much so that grievance politics is even going against strongman leaders. So, for instance, latest elections in India, Narendra Modi, the most popular and skilled politicians in the world, arguably, also suffered huge setbacks because of. So, grievance is the name of the game. Ang talagang usapan sa election nowadays is sinong mas magaling mag-tap into grievance. Sino mas magaling mag-rage bait. I think that's the term that Gen Z use nowadays, rage baiting. Right? Pagalingan niya ng rage baiting. Kung progressive ka, ang rage baiting mo, yung kabila, kapitalista, fascista, ganyan. Tapos kung right-wing ka naman, ang rage baiting mo, sila, woke, cancel culture, culture wars, ganyan, diba? So, different countries have different version of that. And in the case of the Philippines, Duterte's version was, kurakot, kriminal, tuta ng Amerika, kailangan natin ng tunay na pagbabago. Change is coming. Change is coming. Coming. Change is coming. So that was the moment. And kasama dyan sa moment na yan is yung kapalpakan ng mga ibang kandidato. If you look at it, on one hand, si Binay, si Mar Rojas, at si Grace po, essentially tatlo na yan, nag-Royal Rumble sila eh. Kaya may time, umakyat si Binay, binaba siya, tapos si Po umakyat, binaba siya, diba? Each of them got their problems. Binay, yung expose sa, my own newspaper, front page, dun sa alleged mansion, blah, blah, blah. And then kay Grace po naman, yung citizenship, blah, blah, blah. And then Mar Rojas always trying to meander. And then, obviously, Duterte was slowly coming up. Slowly coming up. So that was also part of the moment. Yung kapalpakan ng three major establishment candidates. Imagine mo, Po, senador, Mar Rojas, backed up by the president. Actually, both were backed up by Pinoy back then. Binay, ganito kami sa Makati, sana ganito sa buong Pilipinas. The populace extraordinaire. No shortage of resources. Si Puno, yung kanyang DLG, dating DLG secretary, yung kanyang campaign manager. Everyone had every reason to feel that it was their game. And then salpukan yung tatlo, si Duterte just slowly came from behind. In fact, by January 2016, I look at the survey by there was one very Lilo survey, and back then libre pa, ma-access mo siya, whereby nakita ko significant jump si Rodrigo Duterte among men voters and also among Luzon-based voters. And sabi ko, alanganin to. This guy is gonna come from behind. And that's exactly what happened. So that's the moment. And then there's the man. Obviously, Digong, being Digong, he knows how to take advantage. Wala akong sinasabi but pansin nyo yung mga predators. Predators are good in sensing opportunity. Right? O sige na nga, shark na lang. Baka mamay ma-misunderstood tayo. Diba? Napansin mo mga shark. Let's use the jungle. The predators, they're good in smelling blood, smelling opportunity. Digong was exactly a predator in that sense. He was very good in sensing there was an opening there. And kasama sa grievance politics, I didn't mention it, is a bunch of people who had a background in social media and disinformation. Allegedly, one is Gabunada, someone who was an executive in ABS-CBN. And there are a bunch of other, nobody, lowlifes, whatever you want to call them, who suddenly become bloggers and supporters of Digong or whatever, right? And then all of this came together. But Digong, I think, was the best troll himself. I mean, look at how he constantly trolled and he put himself on the headlines for free. I mean, si Digong halos wala siyang kailangan. wala siyang kailangan when it comes to media mileage dahil libreng-libre siya eh. Napaka-outrageous yung sinasabi niya, consciously outrageous, so parating siya nandun. But I would also add that there was a method to the madness because back then, his campaign manager was someone who was very good in doing grassroots-based politics, right? And that is why, nung February, January pa lang, makikita mo na marami mga tricycle divers at saka yung mga ordinaryo natin ng kababayan, meron na sila yung DDS na ano, yung atin to pre, yung mga. In fact, yung that whole what's that? That whole motto of atin to pre. That's a very well articulated and well thought out slogan. And then of course later on there's a Cambridge Analytica and all of that. But I think to say everything was because of a Cambridge Analytica, you're missing the point. Because hindi naman ito yung Pilipinas na hindi naman ito yung US na ang labanan lang sa isang few swing counties and swing states and how do you target those persuadable. Blah, blah. No, this is the Philippines Royal Rumble. So the man met the moment, and I think even Duterte himself could not believe how successful the result would be. Because the reason why Duterte himself made all the drama of I'll run, I'll not run, I'll run, I'll not run is because he himself knew na medyo malabo yung chances niya. And then everything aligned. Everything aligned for him. Fast forward now, don't worry, now we're going to the meat of the discussion. Fast forward now, you're talking about 2024. 8 years later, you can clearly see that Rodrigo Duterte Digong feels, he's still the same man. He feels he's the same man, he feels it's the same moment, he feels he still has the same power, he feels he has still the same kind of influence. Andun pa rin yung magic niya, whatever you want to call it, dark magic, populist magic, Duterte magic. But hindi na eh. Times have moved on. Yung grievance against Pinoy and Liberal Party, whether it's Yolanda, whether it's Mama Sapano, whether it's traffic, that's way back in the rear mirror. You cannot see it anymore. Nag-move on na. All of the accusations about corruption about the previous administration, ngayon ang pinag-usapan, Farmali. Ngayon pinag-usapan, PhilHealth. A lot have moved on. A lot of people have moved on. The Philippines is a different country. Things have changed. Gen Zs have come of age. And not to mention all of the kapalpakan na nangyari ng panahon ni Digong, right? And the unfortunate effect also of the COVID-19 and the massive mismanagement of that during Duterte, including 5 quarters of recession. Ito doon sa mga henyo natin kaibigan, I keep on getting this. Like, Richard, pero lahat naman ng bansa ay may recession. What in the worst you don't understand? When you say worst in Southeast Asia, meaning worse than all of our neighbors. Almost 10% contraction. Ganon kapalpak yung management ng COVID-19 ng panandigong. Late yung travel ban, kaya ang daming pumasok na virus. At the same time, sobrang extended yung shutdown, kaya baksak yung economy. But anyway, you can see Duterte's sense of denial from the very fact na earlier this year, January pa lang, na alam mo, nasa Tokyo pa tayo noon, tapos nag-RM tayo. Digong was going, guns blazing, thinking that, dun sa kanyang tapang-tapangan, yung mga ganun, he's gonna rally people in his favor, and he had the audacity to even call on Philippine armed forces to essentially topple the president, call on BBM to resign, all of that, diba? And to make things even more interesting, you had Digong essentially calling for separation of Mindanao from the rest of the Philippines. Doon pa lang makikita mo na itong tao na to ay medyo wala ng contact sa reality. He has not realized that the ground has shifted. Not only is he a shell of his past, much older, much more frail, even less lucid than what he used to be, mas sabog yung speeches niya, mas incoherent. Although nandun pa rin yung humor at yabang. Sorry. He doesn't understand he's up against Marcoses, who are no joke, right? And they're OGs, right? So, when you look at all of these factors, makikita mo talaga na may problema dito. May problema dito. Hindi niya nagagets na iba na ang panahon. Hindi niya nagagets na hindi parehas yung power niya. Okay? Yung pwersa ng mga Dutertes, hindi na nandyan. Hindi na katulad ng dati. Now, of course, aminan naman tayo sa Mindanao, sa Davao, medyo mataas siya. Ayan, si Benito Garma, Visayas and Mindanao will fully support Digong at Sara. Sige, Kahit isa nga sa kanila, hindi... Wait, bakit hindi tumakbo si Baste at Pulong at si Digong sa Senate? Last time I check, purong kulelat yung mga yon. Pati si Digong nga, hirap na sa Senate. So, bago kayo mag-flex, tanongin yung sarili nyo, bakit kahit isa sa kanila hindi tumakbong Senado? Baka Davao pa lang, mahirapan pa sila mamaya. Anyway, going back to this, pabaksak yung numbers ni Sara, wala sa kanila like all the numbers are showing you na the Dutertes are on a downward trajectory. Yes, there will always be the home base of Davao. There'll always be some folks in Mindanao or Visayas who support. Well, hindi naman yan eh. There's no debate about that. Yeah, kamusta naman dyan sa mga kasama natin sa Davao? Wala naman issue dyan eh. Wala tayong argument. But to win at the national level, to be powerful at the national level, hindi pwede umasa ka lang sa maliit na base. Alright? The same way the Marcoses could not come back to Malacanang kung umasa lang sila sa solid north. Marcos became the president of the Philippines because andun yung solid south, andun yung solid north, andun yung NCR, andun yung Remulla, andun yung ganun. So that's why Marcos was able to come back. So you have to build nationwide coalitions. So kung umaasa lang itong mga ka-DDS natin dun sa kanilang palit na base, sabihin na that's exactly my point. Andun pa rin yung delusional yabang, hubris. And the hubris was perfectly on display during itong hearing na nangyari. Tignan nyo, paano magsalita si Digong. Hindi ko rin siya masisisi kasi tignan mo naman ibang senador, mapapaisip ka, paano ba naging senador to? I mean, actually, alam naman natin sagot. Pero, still, at the emotion level, mapapaisip ka, paano naging senador tong mga to? Diba? Tapos yung iba naman parang, ano ba nangyari sa'yo? Okay ka lang ba? Low energy ka yata. Kailangan mo yata ng ano, diba? So, if you look at it, precisely because he was surrounded by either factotum, alalay, whatever you call it, or at least weak-performing senators, whatever you want, with the exception, of course, notable exception of Riza, among others, you could see that Duterte was back again dun sa kayabang niya, trying to rally around the flag, tell to the police, I'm your man, I'm there for you, you're my people, I'll stay with you, mga blah blah blah. And then itong mga DDS, proud na proud, eto na, rockstar na, ganun. And sabi ko, yan na naman tayo not learning a lesson. That actually, for all of this yabang-yabang na ginagawa niya, at kung gaano ka-impress yung mga ka-DDS natin dyan, at gaano ka-excited yung mga troll farms, yung mga volunteers. May volunteer troll yata. Na mag-share ng itong mga scripted. Akalain mo, bati si Senyora, sumasabay na. So si Senyor, kakaiba na siya ngayon. Team Chloe, Team Digong. Ibang klase na talaga. Kung ano na nakikita ko sa Facebook nowadays. But anyway, going back to this, dito mo makita talaga medyo out of touch ng mga Duterte. Na hindi na naintindihan, the ground has shifted. Hindi na naintindihan na nationally, they're not the same force anymore. And more importantly, hindi na naintindihan na ang kalaban nila hindi lang si BBM. Hindi lang mga dilawan. Hindi lang mga kakamping. Hindi lang mga ibang mga political dynasties. Hindi lang mga Romualdez. Halos lahat kalaban na nila ngayon. Di ba? Halos lahat kalaban nila ngayon. At doon sa mga iba na mananalo kami sa 2028, are you guys even looking at the data and the numbers? Last year pa po, talo na si Sara kay Raffy Tulfo. In fact, there are surveys that show that Raffy Tulfo is now way ahead of Sara Duterte. And I think the trend line will continue. Now, hindi ko sinasabi na si Raffy Tulfo ay magiging susunod na presidente natin. I think a lot could happen. But what I'm saying is that yung shadow of inevitability na si Sara will be the next president of wala na yun. In fact, I won't be surprised Sara will not even run. I won't be surprised kung ma-impeach pa si Sara. Alam mo kung ma-impeach si Sara, di na siya pwede tumakbo. Sino yung patakbo nyo? Si Digong? Mukha bang patakbo niyo si Baste? Mayor pa nga ng Davao. Patakbo niyo yung isa. So this is what I'm saying. Again, I see a lot of yabang, a lot of, drinking their own Kool-Aid, but they're not looking at. Tama si Noemi. Kung talagang popular sila, bakit sila may hakot? Parang, ibang klase. Nagdala pa ng cheering squad. Alright. Nagdala pa ng cheering squad dito sa mga meeting nila para lang pumakpak para kay Digong. Ibang klase talaga. Ito si Tucson. Uy, sorry naman sa 4 na followers mo. Nahiya naman kami sa'yo. Ayan, laos naman daw tayo. Laos naman tayo kasi ilan milyon lang naman views natin a month. Sorry naman. Ayan. Tingnan mo. Ba't yung gano'n? Yung mga pang-troll nila, laos na. Feeling nila gagana na naman. Kaya ako, pinagtatawanan ko na. Sabi ko, hindi totoo yung sinasabi nila na starve the troll. No. Troll the troll. Pahiya mo yung mga trolls sa sarili nilang kaingutan. Ay, sorry, sa sarili ng ano. That's the way to do it. So now, Socratic method, now we have laid down the foundation. And exactly as I said nung Monday, nung Tuesday, with Christian, with Justice Carpio, sa aking palagay, for all of the deference and alalay games and everything na nakita natin, ano daw? 14 lang yung viewers. Balita ko yung isang makapili think tank, 60 lang views sa kanila. Hindi na ito yung mga taon to. Kung naka 1,000 concurrent view ka, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna get at least around 30,000-40,000 views over a day or so. I mean, these people don't even understand how this works. But anyway, I care. Like I need, views or anything like that. Anyway, going back to this. As we said, Duterte dug his own grave. In fact, yun yung sinabi natin 2 weeks ago pa with RRM. Sabi ko, pag andun yung mga alalay, pag masyado siyang confident, kakalat yan. Sabog yan. Spill the beans yan. And that's exactly what happened. So, ewan ko dun sa mga, no offense, but Davao School of Legal Constitutional Analysis, pero anyone else who paid attention dun sa sinabi ni Digong, malalaman talaga nila dito na may problema. May problema talaga dun sa mga sinabi ni Digong. In fact, precisely because yabang siya at nagyabang-yabang siya, nadulas siya ng big time. And in terms of legal implications, serious yan. I've been saying this. Ayan na naman yung mga syunga na trolls. Wala ka naman sinabi na tumama. Like, I just said 2 days ago. In fact, 2 weeks ago sabi ko mangyari yan. Nangyari yung 2 days ago. Sabi ko, take notice ng ICC, and that's exactly what ICC said. So, ayon sa ICC, alright, they're closely following what's happening. So, ito yung sinabi ng International Criminal Court kanina, no, that it was closely monitoring the latest developments na related dito sa drug war ni Digong base dito sa latest hearings na nakita natin sa Kongreso. Ito yung sinabi ng International Criminal Court sa GMA Integrated News nung interview sila kanina. Ito yung sinabi niya, the ICC Office of the Prosecutor has an ongoing investigation in relation to the situation in the Philippines. This investigation focuses on crimes allegedly committed on the territory of the Philippines between November 1, 2011, so pasok pa yung mga araw na si Digong ay mayor, and 16 March 2019, so ito palabas na tayo ng treaty, in the context of the so-called war on drugs campaign. Ito yung sinabi ng International Criminal Court. Sinabi na ng ICC din, in this light, the office follows developments in the Philippines closely as to their relevance for its ongoing investigation. And then, speaking of prediction, didn't I say na the Quadcom will come in and say, walang kwenta tong essential hearing na yan. Kailangan natin ng totoong hearing. In fact, yun yung sinabi ko. Guess what? Ito rin ang sinasabi nila ngayon. Ayan. Patrick Da, isa ka pang bayaran na troll. Ayan. Pansin ko ito, madami talagang pera na ngayon. Malaki ng budget. No pang warehouse level. Tapos sasabihin pa ng mga patay gutom na uy, papacheck nyo yung niya. Obviously na kayong bayaran na ano. Anyway, ito. Ang Quadcom rin ngayon ay tinitignan nila anong pwede nilang gawin para investigahan ng mabuti. In fact, some of the statements that came out of the hearings ito sa Senado, pwede rin gamitin ng Quadcom even if hindi magpakita si Digong sa hearing na yan. So, kasi ano yan yung testimony na yan ay legal yan. Legal evidence yan. And it was said under oath. So, yung mga arguments ng iba na symbolic lang yan, joke lang yan, it's hindi nagagana yan. You could get away with that when you were in power. But now that you're not in power, the law will apply. And the law is very clear. You said that under oath. Now, kung gusto mo sabihin mamaya na medyo na si tatay ka na, ibang usapan na yan. But as of this vlog, nilaglag niya talaga yung sarili niya ng big time. Alright? In fact, hindi lang ICC is taking note of this. In fact, people here in the Philippines also took note of it and are pushing the ICC and are providing the ICC with the necessary documents, evidentiary documents, and yung mga highlights ng testimonies ng Digong na talagang self-incriminating or at least sheds light on the nature of charges against Digong sa with respect dun sa allegations of crimes against humanity. In fact, one of them is no less than former Senator Trillanes, right? Former Senator Trillanes is watching whatever Digong is doing like a hawk. And alam niya, there's increasingly golden opportunity to settle this issue for good based on evidence that it's payback time. That justice should prevail. Diba? That justice should prevail. And this is the situation we're looking at right now. So I'm just trying to pull out. Nasaan na si ano? Nasaan ka na, sir? Nasaan na si Trillanes? Wala. Now, I want to get the exact. Kasi meron din ano si Senator Trillanes kanina doon sa tweet niya which I reshared. Ito yung sinabi ni former Senator Antonio Trillanes na transmit na po ngayon sa ICC ang transcript ng Senate hearing. Sa Ingles, we have submitted the Senate probe transcript to the ICC today. The pertinent Quadcom transcripts were transmitted early on and all were duly received. Lahat ng ito ay magagamit sa trial later on. This will be of use later on. Alright? So, even Trillanes is absolutely very clear about legal implications ng mga sinasabi ni Digong. So, kung anong yabang niya, anong rockstar na tingin sa kanya, actually medyo delikado siya. Now, the Senate is increasingly coming under pressure to also cooperate with the ICC and cooperate, with Quadcom and other judicial institutions who may be interested in properly looking into evidentiary testimony, evidence that Duterte has provided. So you have a couple of people sa Kongreso, like House Assistant Minority Leader si Arlene Brosas, also asked the administration to stop blocking ICC probe. So there's growing pressure both on the Senate and the administration to cooperate with ICC na and let the ICC come in, right? I think the more ICC also makes comments on this, the harder it will be also for BBM to drag his foot on this issue. Kasi ang basa ko talaga dito is, BBM wants to still put on a show to say that, no, wala naman tayong problema sa Pilipinas, hindi naman tayo war zone. We can do it on our own. That's why the Quadcom and all makes sense. But also, BBM would prefer the day of reckoning to come later on and not too early kasi baka gagamitin pa ng mga Duterte yan to rally around the flag and re-solidify yung kanilang base sa upcoming elections. So siguro ang preference ni BBM is, hina-hinay lang. 'Di ba? Yung parang bago mong katayan yung yung himasin mo pa, ganyan. Pero ang sinasabi ng iba hindi talaga it has to be left to the ICC kasi mahirap talaga umasa sa domestic institutions, mahirap na umasa, nakita naman natin sa Senado kahit hindi na presidente si Digong. Medyo malala yung level ng deference. Ayan, sa dami ng trolls ngayon talagang threaten talaga sila, no? I'll take it as a compliment. Take it as a compliment. Great people. Amazing. Grabe Speaking of, my goodness. Kung just when I thought medyo mayari na si Trump dahil doon sinabi ni kilala mo si Kill Tony? Yung Kill Tony show na comedian, yung sinabi niya sa Puerto Rico. Just when I thought, that closed the show na mayari si Trump. Kasi ang daming Puerto Ricans sa mga swing states. I think there are like 500,000 Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania, right? Kung nag-defect yan, good luck kay Trump. Si Biden daw may sinabing garbage din or something like, what's with all these garbage jokes or garbage comments? But anyway, ibang usapan ng US kasi ang lapit na rin elections, isa pa yan. So obviously next week we'll pay more attention to the US and in the coming days that we'll see what the things are gonna happen later on. But going back to this, guys, sabi ko may implication talaga yan. May implication talaga yan. Ito yung mga sinasabi ni Digong dito. So I think Duterte doesn't understand na this is no longer his kingdom, right? it looks like Duterte is still living in 2016, 2017. He's still dazed by his own power from back in the day. And ito yung sinasabi ko yung mga kadidiyas natin, proud na proud kay Digong, rockstar daw, etc. This is how they look at Duterte around the world. I know it because I go around the world and I deal with policymakers and experts and top universities all around the world. Unlike yung mga ibang pretentious blogger na nandun pa sa ano man natin sino yung mga patay gutom na bayaran na yan. We deal with all of different countries and all of that. Hindi lang Beijing, hindi lang we deal with all of them, right? So this is how Duterte is looked at. I mean, this guy is looked at by much of the civilized world, including in non-Western countries. I've been to Vietnam, I've been to Turkey, I've been to India. These are not Western countries, and I've heard like, what the heck is going on with your president? That's crazy. Even Modi or Erdogan wouldn't make statements like that. Even if Vietnam is an authoritarian country, you never have a politician in Vietnam openly coming out and said na, yeah, in-encourage namin para mabaril namin, para matapos ng usapan, mga ganun. This is how Duterte looks to the rest of the world. And guess what? Unti-unti, this is how it's looking to more and more Filipinos. In fact, if you don't believe in me, it's okay. Kasalanan yan. Wala kayong standard eh. Standard nyo yung mga patay gutom na bayaran na vloggers yan, di ba? Look at the Octo survey. From 2023 to 2024, there was a huge improvement. There was a huge improvement in the number of Filipinos favoring ICC coming in, right? So, habang tumatagal at habang palaos at palaos ng mga Duterte, habang nagkakaroon ng, well, medyo lumalabas ng baho talaga ng fake drug war na yan at namumulat din yung mga ibang kababayan natin, tumataas ang suporta talaga dito sa ICC na ito. So I think if the current trend lines continue, it's a matter of time before Marcos will have to cut the deal with ICC. Either say, okay, let me pretend that I'm still in charge, so let DOJ or something do something about it, but eventually we'll let you guys in. The same way that we let you guys in last year to do investigations in the Philippines, even if initially we said there's no way we're gonna cooperate with you. So this is the lay of the land. This is the lay of land. So may mga henyo dyan na nagsasalita na, mga Pilipino, bakit kayo ganun? Ututo kayo, naniwala kayo sa ICC. You don't understand. You need the shadow of ICC to also put pressure on BBM and DOJ and all to do their part, right? And at the same time, behind the scenes, there are always negotiations and all of that. You think the ICC is just nakalutang lang sila? No, they're already trying to find some sort of understanding with the Philippine government on these issues. But BBM being BBM, I think gusto niya medyo himas pa bago niyang alam niya na how this is gonna work. So, in short, I don't think the Senate hearing overall was a net negative. Naintindihan ko dahil sinasabi ng ibang kababayan natin na ito ay naging plataforma, nag-platform sila kay Digong, ginamit ni Digong ito para mag-rant, ginamit ni Digong ito para magpakitang gilas, para magyabang, para sabihin na he's still a force to reckon with. Yes, nangyari yan at ginamit talaga ni Digong yan. Kaya nga talaga pinagtawanan yung objectivity ng Senate hearing na yan. At nakita nyo, ayaw matapos si Digong gusto pa rin niya magsalita, di ba? Tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung I mean, gusto pa rin niya magsalita. Pero pinapastop siya ni Coco Pimentel at saka si Bato precisely because na-gets nila napaka self-incriminating na yung mga sinasabi ni Digong. If not to mention, pinapahamak pa si Digong, pinapahamak pa ni Digong si Bato, di ba? So that's why they had to cut it. Like tama niyan. Otherwise, Digong would have had 3 hours and just go on and on and on. Ako naman, sinasabi ko kay Digong, kung matapang ka talaga, ituloy natin ang usapan sa tamang plataforma, hindi dun sa mga dun yung mga alalay mo or something. No offense. Dun naman tayo sa Quadcom, dun tayo sa ibang So, there was always a risk that Duterte will use it as a platform. But sa akin palagay, there was just enough. There was just enough out there for the ICC in order to work on. Ito yung sinabi ko. At saka dito tingnan niyo, wala talagang respeto si Digong.
Mindanao. So thank you, Mr. President.
Ito.
In the course of the hearings, doon nga natin i-establish bakit nga walang pang-operation ang police. So yun ang ating, wala. Tatanungin ngayon natin.
Tingnan mo, he's not even allowing Coco to finish his sentence.
Our hearing this, kanino kay Presidente? Until now, sir. Okay. Until now. Can we excuse the President? Okay. Sige, Mr. President, by unanimous opinion, position, you are now excused from the hearing. Thank you for attending.
Ayoko.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Whether you like it or not, kasi itong mga kaibigan niyo po rito, gusto na po kayong ipa-relax sa President.
The guy has no respect.
Ito na kasi yung forum na maybe binigyan ako ng panahon ng Panginoong Diyos na makarating dito and I could talk publicly. Alam naman lahat ng mayors yan, kulang talaga ang suporta. Ang pulis ko, hanggang sweldo lang yan.
Dito makita mo talaga is using it as a platform.
Walang pang follow up.
Mr. President,
Ayun na si Baton.
I think it's majority of the members.
Sabi niyo, unanimous ngayon, majority na.
Senator Bongo, yes, okay. Yes, yours truly, and even Senator Villanueva would like to excuse the President. Yes, okay. From we suspend so that the President can
ayaw ko kasi there are so many questions that would be left unanswered.
Ayun pala eh. I-explain mo na yun sa yung pala, okay, namin yung, madaldal pala, namin yung gustong sabihin. At ituloy na natin sa Quadcom or sa ICCU or a proper platform. So, as I said, here we are. Digong being Digong, he has spilled enough beans and salamat kay Digong. We have more and more evidence to push forward. Now, let me be very absolutely clear about this before we close this. Parati ko nakikita na ginagaslight tayo ito ng mga walang yung mga trolls na yung sinasabi nila, ano kayo, this is demolition job, mga ganyan-ganyan kayo. Tapos nakikita ko yung iba naman mga fanatiko, so hindi ko naman, fanatic, nasasabi natin, academic pa naman and all of that. Sasabihin nila na, hindi, marami pa rin sumusuporta ka. Like, I don't care. Hindi naman popularity ang basis dito eh. Kung popularity ang basis, I can talk about a million dictators. From Gaddafi to Saddam to Kim Jong-un. I won't even talk about the worst types. Right? That guy in Germany or China or Soviet Union. They had high approval ratings. So what if you have higher approval ratings? Hindi naman yun ang basihan eh. So kung popular ka, pwede kang pumatay ng tao. Kung popular ka, pwede kang magnakaw. Kung popular, it doesn't work that way. Hindi, it doesn't work that way. Not to mention, as I always said, so what? Pinoy also at 60-70% approval ratings at some point. Does that mean that we should just accept everything it did? No. Hindi naman popularity dapat ng basihan. And in fact, the reason why parati pinag-usapan ng popular is precise because alam nila wala silang depensa dun sa mga ibang issue. Horrible management of COVID-19. Walang nahuli na totoong big time. Hindi yung mga small time na sinet up lang. Totoong big time. Sila Peter, pagdating sa West Philippines, tuloy-tuloy yung militarization ng China. Kahit nagganyan-ganyan si Kautao yung isang duwag dyan, kahit hindi nag-jet ski, gano'n. I can go on and on about it. Lahat ng mga kapalpakan na nangyari ng mga panahon na yan. So, pabalik-balik sila dito sa issue ng popularity. But popularity is never really... So what? People do horrible things and people believe in horrible things at some point in history. It doesn't mean it's okay. Right? Kaya nga, gamitin mo yung utak mo. Kaya nga, tingnan mo yung saligang batas. Kaya gamitin mo yung konsensya mo. Lalong-lalo na, naiinis tayo kasi kilala ko itong mga ibang tao dyan eh. Nagme-mention sila ng kanilang religion or whatever. Ako sa pagkaalam ko, both in Judaism and Islam, parati sinasabi, saving a single life is like saving the whole universe. Sa Christianity rin, kitang-kita natin, ang taas ng value ng a single life. So before you tell me about popularity, you tell me about feeling okay, or feeling safe, or nagpapauto kayo dun sa manufactured fear and manufactured safety and consensus and all of that, think about more than 150 children who were killed during the war on drugs. Right? Think about tens of thousands ng ating mga kabayan na namatay under very suspicious circumstances. And then sasabihin mo, collateral damage lang yun. Eh di paano kung collateral damage yung kapatid nyo, yung nanay nyo? Paano kung ikaw ay naging collateral damage? Sasabihin mo, collateral damage lang. Yan ang sinasabi ko eh. That's callousness. That's callousness. That's inhumanity. That runs against every single scripture. Every single religion that talks about compassion and humanity. So, klarong-klaro yung batas. Klarong-klaro yung ating pananampalataya. So, obviously, this is fanaticism. So, don't throw me this popularity nonsense like that. That doesn't mean nothing to me if mali yung ginagawa ng tao. Not to mention, yung palusot na, pero wala namang ginawa si ganito sa ganyan. Okay, di ko naman sinabi na wag mo i-solve yung problema, pero wag mo exaggerate na magiging Mexico tayo. Alam natin sinungaling yung sinasabi ni Tatay Digong na magiging narco state tayo. Sinungaling siya. Yung sabi niya, 3 to 6 months, ayusin niya yung bansa natin. Sinungaling siya. Sinabi niya, mag-jet ski siya. Sinungaling siya. O sasabihin niyo na naman, hindi symbolic yan. Di wag ka ng presidente, mag-symbolic na lang tayo. Magpapatawa na lang tayo dito. Hindi nga naman nakakatuwa yung mga sinasabi niya. 'Di ba? So, kaya nga minsan na parang minsan gusto ayaw kong patulan, minsan dudurugin natin yung mga ganitong argument because it doesn't make sense at all. In fact, people have to be ashamed of themselves to use popularity or context and symbolism as an excuse to cover up for mass murder. For me, kahit wala kang pake dun sa mga libo-libong kababayan natin na namatay. And please don't give me this thing, ang daming time sa Twitter, pa-English pa, tapos sabi niya, pero ikaw, Richard, konyo ka pero kami na nakatira ka na. Like, alam ko, troll ka. Okay, bayaran kang troll. Obvious sa account mo yan. So, wag kang magpanggap na yung style nila, no, hindi ka naman taga-ganan. And excuse me, right? Karamihan na namatay yung mga pinakamahirap na ating mga kaubayan. So, dapat alam mo yun. So, kung wala kang paki doon sa ganun, ibig sabihin may problema talaga sa'yo. May problema talaga kayo. Either madali mautos sa sinasabi ng presidente or talaga may problema kayo sa konsensya. Right? And that's what I'm saying. Fanaticism is dangerous. Any kind of fanaticism is dangerous, including demagogic fanaticism. And this is what we have to deal with. Some would even say fascism is what we were dealing with. But, we can have a long conversation about that. But ito yung sinasabi ko yung mga bata na namatay sa war on drugs, that's true. That's a fact. Alright? That's a fact, guys. Alright? By 2020 pa lang, by 2020 pa lang, this is 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago actually, 122 children na namatay. 122. At ito yung documented lang So before you open your mouth and regurgitate nonsense, alright, or try to cover up for your bad choices or your fanaticism, stare the mother and the parents of these children in the eye and tell me okay lang sa'yo yan. And if you want to give me collateral damage nonsense, tignan natin kung yung mga minamahal mo mga collateral damage dito. Alright, so that's what I'm talking about. Alright, that's what I'm talking about. And then, most of all, what I hate is hypocrisy. I really, really don't like hypocrisy. That doesn't mean na perfecto tayong lahat. Lahat naman tayo may shortcomings. In fact, I like the expression that hypocrisy is the vice that we pay for virtue. But, or it's the price of virtue, sorry. Hypocrisy is the price that we pay for virtue. Ang pinakayokong hipokrito, ito mga hipokritong tao na yan. Pagdating sa mga pobreng kababayan natin na pinatay lang doon sa war on drugs, na alam natin either fake war on drugs or sobrang, umamin naman si Digong, talagang siniset up lang yung iba dyan, or kahit sabihin natin for the sake of argument, sige, nagdroga sila ng alam naman natin, small time mga to, kailangan mo patayin dahil small time drug, drug push yan. Is that fair? Is that just? Yeah, and obviously it's illegal. I mean, duh. But even at the level of conscience and ethics, it doesn't make sense. But going back to this, I mean, napaka-ridiculous yung mga ganitong arguments na kita natin. I mean, and I always ask, okay, ano ba yung sustainable solution natin dito sa war on drugs? Nagkaroon ba tayo ng sustainable solution? Ano ba talaga nangyari? Duterte cannot even give us a proper number about ano ba talaga yung number of drug addicts. Gaano kamalala. He doesn't even give us a source of saan niya kinuha yung drug list niya. Kahit sino pwede niya ilagay sa drug list. Basta kalaban lang niya. So, ang daming butas yung argument na yan Ang daming butas yung argument yan. And yet, paulit-ulit natin narinig yan. And I honestly believe on only one way to deal with it. You demolish it. You demolish it at the level of Christianity and humanity. You demolish it at the level of logic and reasoning. Because siya nga talaga yung argument. You demolish it at the level of conscience. Right? Yun ang gagawin natin. Dapat yun, kaya talaga dapat lumalaban tayo sa ganito. Hindi pwedeng respect my opinion lang, respect my opinion. Kung ang opinion mo is okay lang ang mass murder, ay may problema ka talaga. Iho. May problema ka talaga sa pag-iisip kung ganyan ka mag-isip. Alright? Na okay sa yung mass murder. You got a serious problem. And I'm telling you, even if hindi ka directly involved, as an enabler, right? As someone who defended and apologized for it, bahalang Diyos sa inyo. Bahala talagang Diyos sa inyo because it's gonna be on your conscience. Those more than 100 children killed during itong kunyaring drug operations na yan. Libo-libo sa ating mga kababayan na namatay. Yung karamihan pa dyan, mga at most small-time drug peddlers lang. Tapos okay lang sa inyo, mass murder sila. Dahil lang mahirap sila. So don't tell me about, ikaw konyo, ganun. Kayo ang talagang totoong elitista. Kayo talagang feudal mag-isip. Kayong talaga walang konsensya. Dahil pobre lang yung mga pinatay, okay lang sa inyo yan. Grabe naman yung pag-iisip na yan. Talagang elitista talaga at the worst level. Hindi lang fascista eh. Diba? So, we have to argue along those lines. So, whenever you hear someone who tries to justify it, no. There's no both sides to this argument. There's the wrong side and the good side, sure. But there's no like, hindi, pakinggan natin, respect. We shouldn't respect anything that celebrates mass murder. Anything that celebrates everything that goes against our conscience and law. Kung wala kang paki sa ating batas, may problema ka sa pag-iisip. Pero kung wala kang paki sa konsensya, sa ating pananampalataya, malaki talagang problema mo. Diba? So, yun ang sinasabi ko eh. Right? Whenever you want to open that mouth and regurgitate nonsense again, dahil inuto ka, dahil fanatic ka, whatever, think about those 100. I'm sure this is a conservative estimate. If 30,000 were indeed killed, you can imagine there were hundreds of children who got killed during these drug operations. You tell the parents of these people, sabihin mo yan sa kaluluwa ng mga batang yan, na okay lang sa'yo yan. And if you want to talk about collateral damage, sabihin mo sa kanila at sasabihin nila sa'yo anong pwede mangyari sa'yo. So that's what I'm saying. Bahala talagang Diyos sa inyo. But in the meantime, we're gonna fight the fight. We're gonna push back against that nonsense discourse. For 6 years, they tried to shut us down, they intimidated us, they harassed us, whatever. Pero laos na kayo ngayon eh. Lumaban kami noon at lalo ngayon. Diba? So, all of us should do this. If you are in a table and you hear someone saying nonsense about mass murder and it's okay, you push back. I don't believe in being polite to wrong people. Honestly. Well, my advice is just don't go to a place if you're going to be surrounded by, But if there's there, be polite, but be firm. Wag bastos, but be firm. At sabi mo, anong klaseng pag-iisip yan? Hindi ka ba nahiya sa sarili mo na okay lang sa'yo mass murder? Sabihin mo collateral damage. Of course, sabihin mo yan kasi hindi ka na maapektado. May problema talaga mga tao. We have to call them out. Not cancel. We still deal with them, right? But you call them out. We call them out. That's how you have to do it. Alright? On that note, thank you very much mga kameta. I hope you appreciated itong mga medyo napahaba ang discussion natin, but this is the Socratic method. So you saw it. Eventually, we ended in the conclusion we wanted. We started it, we laid down the premise, and then here's our conclusion. So I hope na appreciate nyo itong style natin, because dapat ganun eh. Hindi pwede mag-lecture ka lang eh. Sabihin mo, ito yung kailangan gawin, itong hindi. Dapat kwento mo talaga, bakit ganun ang dapat ang ating pag-iisip? Bakit ganito dapat yung ating approach? Diba? That is really the way to fight the good fight. So, sinasabi ko sa inyo, habang itong mga epal na bayaran na troll ay nagtatroll sa atin, salamat sa inyo, pinataas yung engagement natin, you have to also fight that good fight. Dahil isang tao lang naman ako eh. So, I expect you guys to essentially trickle this down in your own communities and all. Don't give a chance to that rhetoric of mass murder, to celebration of autocracy, to all of that nonsense to gain the upper hand. You should fight back. Okay? But firm and politely. Hindi naman kailangan ng bardagulan. Alright? Unless kailangan talaga. Thank you very much. God bless. And talk to you.